everybody. Welcome. Good to see everybody. Just so you know, I'm going to do my best to not get too distracted, but there's a lot of people that are not here yet. So when they start to come in, we're all going to just we'll keep plowing through. We'll greet them, we'll hug them, we'll kiss them, but we'll keep plowing through. Welcome, everybody. I'm so happy to see you all. And you know what I realized? Since you're here in person, when I talk about what I have coming up, you can talk about it, right?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So we'll do that when I get back from the break. Sound good? Happy to see you. Happy to see everybody. Thank you very much. Do you guys back there, do you want to stagger a little bit more so I can see your beautiful face? You know, we tried to get stadium seating, but Michelle just wouldn't agree. Huh? Ah, awesome. Hello, welcome. Hello, welcome. Okay, so we're continuing with our series on making discoveries. Making discoveries, I always like to just give a little lead in each month. Making discoveries really is just about, you know, what are the steps of enlightenment? And each month we cover a different step or multiple steps. Basically, in reviewing my experiences when I went through all of the steps that I've been through accidentally. I didn't go through them on purpose, meaning I didn't know that there was a destination. I didn't even realize that there was such a thing as enlightenment or the benefits and the rewards that come with each aha moment that we achieve and each aha moment that we integrate. So I did this journey in ignorance, and it did feel like I bumped through it a lot. So there were a lot of pitfalls. So what I aim to do is to make that journey smoother for you by giving you advance notice of what might be coming or what you can anticipate or what to set your GPS on and how to direct yourself to having the ability to experience the aha moments that actually do make life much lovelier than it was before you knew them. You know, I always try to help people understand that we either live asleep, 100% asleep, or we live in some stage of awakeness, and that the spectrum of how we can be awake from the beginning to the first moment of realizing there's something more than what we see and feel and hear in our physical bodies, to whatever enlightenment anyone has ever achieved on earth, the enlightenment that we experience when we're out of our bodies, it's such a broad spectrum. And we're not going to hit the points of enlightenment at the same times, at the same moments. And some you'll hit, some you'll miss. And they don't even go in the same order for different people. So, you know, you might skip a couple and then go back and get something that somebody else had done. And the whole idea is that one of the reasons we're here in the physical is so that we can achieve these moments of enlightenment and we can enjoy the benefits and the value to our life in having achieved them. And tonight, what I want to focus on is what do we do when the wisdom, the spiritual understanding is in our head and it isn't going anywhere else, right? It's just still right there. You know, you've done a lot of reading, you've seen speakers, you've tried stuff, you've done exercises, you've walked across fire, you've done it all, right? So you're this enlightened being. And you know what? You could sit down with the best of the PhDs in enlightenment and have a good conversation with them about it because you know your stuff. But if your life is still a hot mess, then that means is that you haven't been able to get it from here into your being. And I'm only making light of saying that your life is a hot mess. What really does happen is that we're each going to have periods of times when we feel really disconnected from wisdom, from love, from self-love, from peace, from harmony. And we're also going to have some things that nag in throughout our journey, one area or two areas. One or two areas. Everyone, that was for you. Yes, it was exactly for you. That was for you. And then we're going to have these areas where we have discord in just like one area of our life all the time, and it keeps coming back and back and back and back. So we nailed the harmony bit over here with, oh, I got romances down, nailed it. Or great relationship with my kids, nailed it. A good relationship with my body, yeah. But money, it goes out faster than it comes in. I can't seem to get enough of it. And the more I make, the more I spend, and the more other people take from me, and then my car breaks down. So it's all of this stuff. Most of us have one thing that we just can't figure out how to get that enlightenment into that area of our lives. Okay. So part of the idea of how do we move the stuff from here and into here is, how do you release the blocks? How do you release the stuff that you're holding on to, and especially the areas that have continued to bring you discord over time, and they repeatedly show themselves as something that you struggle with, or something that is making it difficult for you to enjoy your life to the fullest. And that's what I want to take a peek at tonight. Okay. The other thing too is our viewership online, since we've been using this format, has been growing a lot. And I think it's great that we're giving an opportunity for people who live in different parts of the country or different parts of the world to be with us and meet us. But you know what? There is still going to be this great privilege that you guys got yourself up and out, and you got in the car and you drove here and you're with me physically. And I would like to continue to reward that by making sure that I take more questions from you toward the end. And tonight I'm going to dedicate even more time to questions and answers, because you are here. There's a real benefit in us being together physically. I get it that a lot of people can't be with us physically, and that's why I'm accommodating them. But in the way that life is getting more and more hectic, and we're becoming more oriented toward our, social media and texting rather than hugs and friendship and eye contact, I think it's a privilege to be with people in person still. And so the way my give back for you guys going through the effort of getting in the car and joining me is that I want to talk to you personally. And I do know that the value of any question that anyone has in the room is going to benefit everybody in the room, and it's going to benefit anyone that's watching the video after today. So don't hesitate to ask anything, time and time again. And I'm sure you've seen it as well. That's something that we talk about tonight. You might have even had it on your checklist of questions, but it's going to get answered whether you ask it or somebody else asks it, because that's what we do. We come together, we share consciousness. I'm listening to everybody's guides all the time. I'm directed to bring up things. It might seem like I'm going on a side tangent, but then you'll see 3 people come up and say that was exactly what it is that I was looking to get answered. And so my role is to answer as many questions as I can, whether you ask them or not. We're going to try to get to as much as we can. Okay. First of all, in reviewing the idea that it's not that easy, and it's not actually natural to get wisdom from our head into our being. And by not natural, I mean that where we're getting our wisdom from is coming from a different area of our being than where we're getting our facts. Facts come through the left brain. It's about using your mind to pursue and process first language and then information, to store it, to make sense out of it, to categorize it, to see what it means to you, to have curiosity about it and ask questions. We're learning facts through our left brain. But spiritual wisdom and the soulfulness we knew before we were born, that doesn't come through the left brain. That comes through the right brain. So it's unnatural for us to learn how to access universal wisdom through the left brain. Right? Does everybody understand that? So the first thing we have to understand is that just because you read a book and read another book and saw another speaker, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you if it's not going from the brain to your being. So you got to forgive yourself if it's a little bit hard to make the connection, and recognize that's not the way that we learn matters of an eternal nature. We don't learn things of an eternal nature through books and that. We do it with what happens after we get to the point that we hear something different. And that's where I want to come in tonight. So in this equation of how we create reality here, I want to review the formula that I've been using for 10 years to help us understand our reality better. Our reality, our physical reality, is manifested by, I know a lot of you can chant it with me, by what we think, what we feel, what we believe, and then the subsequent actions that we take based on what we think, we feel, and we believe. You can't undo that formula. It is how we create our reality. So oftentimes when I'm coaching people, I help them to see that if they're having a specific disharmony at the end of the equal sign, after the equal sign comes, this is my physical reality. If something's disharmonious there over and over and over again repeatedly, let's break down the equation. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are your beliefs, which is usually the most hidden or unconscious? And then what actions are you taking regarding what you're thinking and feeling and believing? And wherever the disconnect is in those 4 items, that's where the after the equal sign might not be working out the way you would like it to work out. So that's the first part of it, is that there is a real method to this. So even if you know something, that I can release myself to abundance and I can put up nice, charming little affirmations and reread them, even if you know that you're entitled or have a birthright to abundance, and that we all do, even if you know that you were taught things that have created an energy within you that might be drawing in scarcity instead of abundance, you know all this. You know, the idea is how in your equation of what you're thinking and feeling and believing and actions that you're taking, what's in disharmony with what you now know to be true, that you're allowed to have abundance. So let's look through that first quickly, all right? Thinking. Do you think you're going to have enough money? Do you feel that your history is going to prevent you from having money in the future? What goes through your head? What are you thinking about? How are you perceiving your relationship with money? The feeling part is critical, and it's the one I think we overlook the most. The feeling part is, how do you feel about money? How do you feel when you pay the bills? How do you feel when you look at your bank accounts? How do you feel when you look at your paycheck? How do you feel when you get a 1.2% raise instead of you thought you were getting a 10% raise? How do you feel when this bill goes up? How do you feel when you see everybody's eating out there and I'm not eating there because it's too much money? So the feelings that come along with it, they create a big part of the sphere of energy that is attracting in and manifesting your reality. So the feelings part has to be peaked at. How are you allowing yourself to feel? The idea is to elevate your vibration in relation to money. We're looking at money as the example, and it's to continually elevate your vibration. I'm going to go back to this formula in a little while. That's why I'm running through it quickly now. The belief section, that's the one that I said is often the most unconscious, because you know how you feel. You know what you think. If you stop and pause and you pay attention, you can figure out what you're thinking and you can figure out what you're feeling, right? But believing, that's the tough one, because we might be able to say sentences that are in contrast to the body of the information that we're holding within us, what our cells have written on them from our past history, what we've been told by family and community and friends and teachers and politicians. You know, what we've experienced personally becomes a part of the composite of our belief system. And I'm still talking about abundance to illustrate. So if you have a history of things not working out financially, not only was that history prompted by other people telling you that you got to work hard or money doesn't come easy, or, you know, whatever it is you were told and you believe, but then the composite of your history of not having abundance flow to you has reinforced that belief. So now your belief is a double whammy. Okay. So that's the part that you have to really pay attention to and look at. What is it that I believe? If we were to say statements in contrast to scarcity, and we were to say abundant statements, do they sound truthful to you, or do you quickly dismiss it as right for somebody other than you, such as, Money, there's enough money and abundance and everything on this planet for everybody. Does that resonate with you? Does. Okay. You have to work very, very, very hard to get ahead. Does that resonate with you? All right. So just these little tests of seeing, well, what do I believe? And you can shake your head or you can nod to different questions. But what also you want to pay attention to is your beliefs reveal themselves by what you're feeling in your gut. Some people get a little bit of a pushback right in here, and it feels like, and then you try to dismiss it. Some people get a knot lower here. And if you're rejecting an item of truth, of something that's universally known to be truthful, but your body is pushing back in here or in here, what that means is that there's a contrast to the information in your head and the body of history that you have with that particular item, in this case, abundance. So the conflict is showing itself to you in your body by either feeling ugh in here or getting a little twist in your stomach. It's helping you to see that your belief system is not in congruence with this universal wisdom that you're wanting to bring in, okay? But the one I want to start with really tonight, and I said I'll get back to some of the others because they're very significant and I just blew through them really quickly, but the one I want to talk about is action, okay? One of the reasons that it's really hard to move infinite wisdom from our head into our being is because we don't know how to take action steps after we hear something that resonates. So the stuff, it just sits there. It's like in a stagnant pool. It just sits there in the brain, and it sits there in the brain, and it sits there in the brain. We dribble a little hope on it every now and then. We stir it up every now and then. We poke at it a little bit. And then we say, why don't I have it? I know. Why don't I have it? I know. We poke at it and we stab at it and all that. But we don't know what to do with it. We don't know what to do. We don't know what action steps to take to get it from where it is to where we would really like it to be. And so I really want to take a peek at action today. And what it means is that it takes steps. It takes physical steps. It takes a physical commitment to move things from your mind into your being. And if you really want that knowledge that's resonating with you, if you want this universal truth to become a part of your being and a part of your experience and a part of what it is you manifest and enjoy on a regular basis, day in and day out, then it's so important that you put together an action plan that allows that to become fact in your life. What is kind of remarkable is that in every area of our life, whether it's academics or learning an instrument or performing in a show or excelling at athletics or even participating in athletics, we have no hesitation whatsoever in practicing and practicing and practicing. If we have a passion for something and we really want to achieve it, then we're gonna do it over and over and over again until we get to where we want to be with it. Yet for some reason, information that comes from a spiritual plane, information that feels like it's resonating as truth and can help us actually really become happier, we don't necessarily know how to practice it. How do we practice it? How do we make it a part of our daily lives? And I get that it's great to have a platform where you're doing things that are allowing you to feel whole physically or to feel at peace physically. And I get that that's an important part of bringing it from your head into your body. And that means whatever practice you have to quiet the mind. It could be that you are practicing yoga on a regular basis. It could be that you meditate. It could be that you have certain spiritual practices that you do, like auto writing, or making sure that you're doing some Zen things on a regular basis, walking in nature, whatever it is that helps you personally to quiet your mind. of course, that's going to create the canvas in which you can practice. But that's not necessarily the thing that is the action step that's going to get it from here to here. What that does is it creates an environment in which it can settle in here, and there's not so much at odds with it conflicting your attention and your cells to do the work. So you got to clear out that place where this stuff can come in and make a happy home. So yes, it's important. It's absolutely important that you clear your mind on a regular basis, and you find the way that you can clear your mind best. It's essential because it gets rid of all of that chaos that's in here. It gets rid of the turmoil. It makes it possible that the next things that we talk about in moving from here to in here can happen. Okay? And there's plenty of ways that you can quiet your mind on a regular basis, and you don't have to worry about boredom with it either, because there's so many ways to quiet your mind. If something becomes stale for you, just change it up, because even a long hot bath is a way to quiet your mind with no disruptions, no distractions, nobody calling you or banging on the door. That's one way. So if you took a long hot bath for half hour, you've already quieted your mind once for that week, right? It's not going to be that hard to do it two or three more times in the week, is it? Right? So it could be then, if you have a dog and you walk your dog, instead of just walking the dog out to the mailbox and back, take the dog on a real walk. Walk for 30 minutes. Get out there, breathe in, look at the leaves, listen to a bird, do whatever you are able to do outside, but get yourself out there and walk that half hour. Wow, now you took a bath. Thank you, everybody. And then you went for a walk with your dog, and you nailed 2 already. If you could get another, you got your basic quieting the mind down. And if you add a 4th, now we're really getting up there again. A long drive with nobody in the car. That's incredibly zen. I'm not talking traffic. That's not zen for me, and I don't think it's zen for too many people, but some people might find that relaxing. But a long country kind of drive or a long highway drive, what happens is, you guys have seen this. You don't know where you are. You're like, Montana? Wow, cool. Wow, I'm hungry. But all of a sudden you pass your exit and you don't know what happened. And then you realize, wow, I guess I was really daydreaming. That daydreaming where you kind of exit your consciousness of your own reality, that's very, very zen. It's very much quieting your mind. I remember when my kids were little, and wherever you go, they go. And I remember I don't even have freaking 5 minutes in the car alone to unwind, I was really starting to realize, you really gotta take a break from participating with other people 24/7. You just gotta get a little downtime. And that's the time too. Anyone here have kids? It's the time when you do take that shower and there's little nails scratching at the door and they're pounding and someone's yelling at the other side. So your shower's just a quick cold shampoo and I'm out of here. So for years while you're growing little ones, you're not going to quiet your mind. But anyway, besides those years, you want to really quiet your mind on a regular basis. And even if you do have little ones around, try to figure out a way to get it done anyway, get some help or whatever. But even if you are out of everything, it's pouring outside, you haven't gone for a walk in a long time, you have no ideas left, then do something crafty, do something artsy, and have a project. Set the project up. Play a little music in the background and do it. Get your hands in there, get dirty, create, play, and you will be quieting your mind, as long as you're not a perfectionist and think you have to create something that looks just like this or that you can sell on Etsy at the end of the half hour. But if you have no personal requirements of what it is that you are making or creating, if you just do it for the fun of it, imagine that, just doing it for the fun of it with no connection whatsoever to the result, then that too is quieting your mind, right? If no one's around and you love to cook or bake, that's quieting your mind. You're the only one that really knows how you do it. But the point is, it doesn't have to be the same way all the time. You can really move it around and make it different constantly. As long as you're making it a priority, as long as you're making it something that you value, then you'll have the canvas for which the other action items that I tell you about can take hold. You have a place where they can stick, okay? They can't stick to chaos. They just can't. If there's too much going on, this stuff can't stick. All right, so the second part is, what other action steps can we take when we want to move knowledge from here to here? Here's where you have to think about what it is that you're aiming to achieve. So if you have this knowledge about, let's come up with an example, about how to magnetize in a romantic partner of your dreams. If that's your aim, and you read every book, you've done the whole bit of going to retreats and listening to speakers and practicing things of what they tell you to do and stuff. Now you got to figure out, if you truly believe that you have the ability to magnetize in this romantic partner, now you have to take the steps and take them on a regular basis so that it can take hold. Okay? I'm going to sip water. Okay. Usually I say I'm going to do that and I don't, but this time I actually did it. So here's when I was driving over here today, your guides gave me an interesting analogy. When we were in elementary school, we had to memorize stuff, right? And then we got tested on it, and we had to regurgitate that which it is we memorized, and we had to put it on a piece of paper, and then we got a grade, and then we were judged by how we did on it. But you know what we did? We engaged with action steps in the material. We might have only remembered it just for the test, but you'll be able to access that or recall it if you're ever shown anything about it later in the future, because you have already memorized it. Still to this day, I can remember in 4th grade, we knew that one day on a Friday afternoon when we got back from lunch and we sat down at our desks, there was going to be a blank map of the United States on our table. And when we got back from lunch, we were to pick up that pencil and draw every state in that blank map. And we knew that was going to happen. And I did it. And you could get 100 if you knew 50, and you know the math. What happened? I never knew Nebraska was a state, but it is actually a state. I got a 98. Is Nebraska really a state? Does anyone know of anyone that's ever been to Nebraska? Ever? Who? Really? Have you been there? So it does exist. Okay. Really? Wow. That's fascinating. So why didn't I remember it when I was in 4th grade? Wait, let me get out my little grade book over since we're talking about school. Note to self: you did not get a 98 today, young man. Well, aren't you impressed that I remembered? I couldn't remember Nebraska on that test in 4th grade. Okay. So if you learn anything today, you learn that Nebraska is a state in the United States of America. But the point is that I was able to recognize states for the rest of my life because I went through the process of memorizing that. I can't fill in the map today, but I could probably do pretty well with it if I looked at a map of the states and then closed my eyes and then tried filling it. I'd probably do pretty good. And I'm linking back into the fact that I did put some effort into memorizing it when I was in 4th grade, okay? And the point is that action takes effort. Action takes effort. And in order to get something from your head into your being, you have to exert effort. You have to put something forth to make it happen. It can't just be a wish. It can't just be a thought. It can't just be something simmering in your brain. It can't be something that's creating swamp water in your brain and the mosquitoes have found a home in there. You gotta get it up and move it around a little bit. And that means that whatever it is you're trying to move, you have to plan what your action steps are going to be to get it from here to there. So let's go back to romantic partner as our example. I know it's possible. I believe it's possible. So I realize that it's important that I have a conversation with the universe about what it is that I would like in romance. What is it that I would like to enjoy and experience and co-create with a romantic partner? One of the first action steps that you can take is to take a pencil and a piece of paper and write that down. What is it that I would like to achieve? What is it that I would like to feel? How would I like to be in this relationship? You know, we all have our little likes and dislikes, and it's okay to write them down. This is not about judgment. You don't have to be some kind of saint when you're writing a list like this. It's not about judgment. It's about honesty. It's about saying, how do I want to feel? Okay. And write it down on a piece of paper. You can change it. You can add, you can subtract, you can do whatever you want to alter it as time goes by. You might see something is more significant, something is less significant. But the key is to figure out what you really want, what it is that you're drawn to, what it is that you want to experience, and so on. And put it in writing. If you're not a writing person, depict it physically in some way, whether you're looking for images and downloading them, or you're, getting movie titles, or you're writing a poem about that. If you're painting it, you're drawing it, whatever. You're making one of those cool word charts that all blend together. You put in all the words and they, that makes art, right? Do you guys know what I mean? A word smasher, right? Put the words in of how you want to feel in a romantic relationship and make a word smash out of it. Whatever you do, just make sure that you're doing something physically with it. So you're interacting with this idea of conversing with the universe about what you want in a romantic relationship. Okay. Now you have something physical in front of you. And now what you want to do is make sure that that physical thing gets taken out and moved and touched and looked at and played with and read and breathed into and felt. Because it's really good that you did this, but if you now take this and you tuck it somewhere and you never have anything to do with it again, it's not all that different than having the thought in your head and then letting it simmer but not paying any attention to it. You want to now take this and be with it, which means love it to life. Love it to physical manifestation by saying, oh, pick one thing. Oh, that would be so cool. That'd be so fun. Picture it. Then and maybe read the whole list a different day. Maybe just read a few of them and then sit back and daydream about it. But interact with it. Let it become a part of your life. And be conscious when you're interacting with it. Be conscious of what you're thinking and feeling and believing. You're taking the action step. Now be conscious of what you're bringing to that action step. What are you thinking about? Oh, I know I wrote that on the list, but I'll never have that, or that's too good for me. It's not going to work. You're defeating the purpose then. You don't take the action for taking the action's sake. You take the action because you want it energetically to get you to a meaningful place, right? So think, what am I thinking? What am I thinking here? What am I feeling here? I've never had this before. I don't think, I can't believe it. My last, he was such a jerk, or I keep bringing the same guy over and over again. They were all such idiots. What are you thinking when you're interacting with it? Yeah, I know I say I like that, but all the good ones are taken. What are you thinking? You got to think, what are you feeling? What are you bringing to this? What's the vibration that you're having when you're interacting with it? You can't now take the action step and negate it by what you're bringing to the interaction. You want to feel excited. You want to feel happy. You want to feel jazzed. You want to feel like it's possible. You want to feel like you're unstoppable. That's the vibration that's going to let it go from here to here. And the way it got here was from here. So we already brought it from here to here. Now we want it to go from here to here. So make it a fun place. Make it a place where you're happy, you're optimistic, you're purposeful and understanding that you have the right to this. You have the birthright to happiness in every area of your life. And that's how you want to feel. You want to feel excited. At a minimum, you want to feel okay. Don't feel less than okay, but at a minimum, you want to feel okay. All right. I know when I did this years ago, I call it a 10 list, and the instructions for it in the back are in the back of the book, The Answers. And when I did this, I had my 10 list, and I did find that I was interacting with it 3 times a day as instructed by my guides. And I would get stuck on one item for days, weeks, months. So what I wound up doing was I would just either skip that line item for a while until I could figure out where my pushback was on that line item. Why did I believe it wasn't true? Why was I still having so much resistance with that particular line item? But the interesting thing is you kind of have a sense when your interaction with your own depiction of what it is that you want, you have a sense if you're giving pushback on something. So try to put it aside. You can't necessarily blow through it if you're not feeling good or comfortable or happy. You want to try to say, what's my resistance here? Either put it aside and figure out what the resistance is separately, or work through it right there if you have a moment to say, why do I keep getting pushback when I see this particular part of the line item? And that's how you can be more consciously aware of what you're feeling when you're interacting with the thing that it is that you created. All right. So we went through thoughts, we went through feelings, beliefs. Beliefs are, if you, like I was just explaining, I totally got pushed back on a certain line item. It meant that my belief system was not congruent with what it is that I said I wanted. And that disconnect was creating this feeling of, I can't even look at that line item, or my heart always sinks when I look at that line item. It's not because I don't want it. It's just there's something about it that I don't think I'm going to have it, or I don't think I can have it, or I don't know how to get it. And so it's important to take a peek at why your energetic interaction with that which it is you personally have declared you want, why is it that your feelings and your thoughts and your beliefs are not happily embracing the possibility? Does everyone understand that? Okay, so that was an actionable step. This was the equivalent of memorizing the states in the United States of America and putting them in the states and then having a frame of reference for the states at a future date. That was we did something. We put in effort. This is effort. We put the effort in. And one of the most important parts of this effort that we put forth is the fact that we have something physical. Because the mind sucks at reminding the mind. It's the bottom line. It just sucks. You can tell it to do it, but it forgets, or it does something more interesting. Something passes by and you do that. Something else passes by and you do that. And then you think, oh, I have something I can worry about. Let me stay here for a half hour. And you get in a half-hour worry loop. Well, you know what? Is the mind the place you want to go to remind you to do something that's going to be really beneficial to you? No, you've tried it. If you didn't have the result you wanted, you already realized your mind's not getting your mind out of the way. So a physical reminder is the thing that can give you that little bit of a jump start. You know, the physical reminder can be, oh, the list. It's Tuesday. I haven't looked at it since Monday. Oh, that's only one day. That's not so bad. And then you look at it and you interact with it again, right? And then you do it again. It's like, oh, I looked at this morning. I can feel really jazzed today because I'm activating my action step of bringing it from here into here twice in one day. And I feel really good about that. I feel good, so good about myself. I know I'm going to have a really good interaction right here, right now with this. And the other part of it is that even though you have something physical now to work with, if it becomes stale and it's not really doing anything for you, right? We know what that feels like. It's like, oh, I would love the most meaningful relationship, and it reminds me of a movie that I saw when I was. If you're going nowhere with it anymore, then you got to change it up again. So you have to make a new list or depict it in a new way or freshen it up or put glitter on it or write it backwards and try reading it backwards. Do anything you can to shake it up. Get it away from being stale. Because if it's stale, it's not going to draw you in, even as a physical reminder to ask you to take an action step and put in effort to get what it is that you want from here to here. Everyone understand? The other thing I was going through in my head, how did I actually change so much in those 2 years? Like, I mean, I flew through stuff like mad. I just flew through it. And I'm not going to tell you that it was easy, but I stuck with it. I did it and I did it and I did it and I did it. And I recognize in hindsight so much more about it that I didn't know while I was going through it. And number one, I think it was the first time in my life I was ever obsessed about anything. I had an obsession with it. And it felt like a very new feeling to be obsessed. And I was obsessed. I think there's a way to have a more healthy relationship with something that you're pursuing than labeling it obsession. But let's try to dial down obsession a little bit. But let's go to passion. If I had stopped at passion, maybe I wouldn't have suffered as much as I did going through it. So let's all go to passion. Okay, you got to bring something there. You got to bring your passion to it. If you really want to get something from here to here, you have to be excited about it. You can't be lukewarm about it. Nothing has ever gotten done in this world by someone that was ho-hum about it. Eiffel Tower. I don't know. How long is it going to take? I don't know. That's a lot of drawing. If I make one sketch, will you approve it, or are you going to make me redo it? I don't know. That's a lot. No, I don't think so. But how'd the Eiffel Tower get built? Somebody was obsessed, right? And whoever that was obsessed, they got a lot of other people pretty jazzed about it too. And that's how it got done, because they got really, really passionate and excited about it. So if you are lukewarm about an aha moment, and the only thing that's getting you excited is that you know if you integrate it, you're going to be happier, that's not enough. You have to really start to believe and feel that you are going to be happier when you get it from here to there. You have to feel a connection to the result. Feel a connection to the result. You have to feel a connection to the result. Otherwise, you'll be lukewarm at best. So passion is the second action item to take, is to figure out how to dial up your passion. Okay? How do you dial up your passion? Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I have a goal of increasing the positive level of awareness of millions of people on Earth. Very doable. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it done. And I'm incredibly, incredibly passionate about it, and I will never stop doing it. I'll never stop doing it. Never. I'll never stop doing it. So how do I take that excitement and have it be not just a thought, not just something that I kind of want to happen, but how do I get it from there into reality? Is that I keep my passion high by executing all of the good ideas that pop into my head. Not all of them, you can't. But I take the time to capture the good ideas as they come to me. There are times when if you looked at my desk, you would think I am never, ever, ever going to this woman for advice on any area of my life, because she's a mess. Her desk looks like a tornado. And if anyone came and cleaned my desk, I would be a tornado, because my desk is chaotically exactly as I know it is. And I know everything that's happening on that desk, because there are things there that are brewing, that are stimulating me, that I'm excited about, that I want to do. There's stuff on my desk that's going to make this world spin more quickly on its axis. I guarantee it. There are ripped notes. There are things written in marker. There are things written in nail polish. There are things written in lipstick, because I will write on anything I can get my hands on. There are things that are ripped out. There are napkins. They're folded. They're taped together. There's arrows going from one to another. It is a mess. And I'm telling you, when I get that stuff and I pull it all together and I put it into a direction, stuff happens, and a lot of stuff happens because I bring passion to it, right? One of the great things about the way I operate for me personally, this is how I came to know myself and what gets me actionably committed to my goal of increasing the positive level of awareness of millions, is that for me, I leave these slips of paper all over, and they build and they build and they build. And then finally, at exactly the right moment, I look through them all and I read them and I make piles and I cross things out and I make headers and I take out a graph paper book and I start writing things on my graph paper, that everything starts to get into columns and lines and it's order, and there's an outline, right? And it all just goes in and I put stuff in there. And I also take some of those pieces of paper and I'm like, oh, I don't know what I was thinking. And I throw it out because I realized that I was probably high for a second and didn't really, I wasn't. I just realized that it was just, not every idea is a perfect idea. It seemed good at the time, but in the end, it doesn't fit in with the program. But all of this action was keeping my passion high, and it was expressing my passion. If I kept a neat desk and I didn't jot this stuff down that was popping in my head all the time, I wouldn't have created what I have created in the last 10 years. Because if I had to every day wake up and say, okay, it's a new day, I want to increase the positive level of awareness of humanity, what should I do today? I would be starting, it would be like, Groundhog Day every day, because I'd have to start fresh every day, right? And if you're not taking these action steps, first to have physical reminders to manifest that which it is you believe is possible, and then ways to keep your passion high, to keep yourself committed, to keep yourself focused and believing that this is possible, and to keep yourself active in it, again, it's going to trail away. It's going to die. You're going to get distracted. You're going to pay attention to something that comes into your space instead of paying attention to the thing that it is that you believe you want more than anything. Because that's what happens. Our time gets filled. Our time gets filled. And you will give permission to anybody and anything to fill that time if you're not prioritizing this being the filler of your time. Does that make sense to everybody? So figure out your thing. I told you mine very specifically. I told you what I do to keep my passion high. I told you. And then when I'm doing something and I see these things in my peripheral, I don't feel agitated that I got to get it done. I feel like I have to do the thing in front of me because it's, it's on my schedule for the day, but I get very excited that eventually that part of the day is going to be over and I get to do something with that. It's little excitement reminders for me. And they're always there and they're always growing and they're always building. The funny thing is, I have a filing cabinet, and if you'd like to see the seminars I've given over the last 10 years, especially the 3-day seminars, you would open up a really, really, really pretty folder. And every seminar has a different folder, and they say peace, and they say love, and they have rainbows, and they have glitter, and they're just gorgeous, these folders. I love my folders. And inside that folder, you'll open up, you think the magic is going to continue when you go inside. You're going to go inside there and you're going to see a zillion ripped pieces of paper. And then you're going to finally get to the 3 pieces of graph paper that are the whole 3-day seminar. And they're going to have boxes and lines and different highlighter colors, and then exclamation points and hearts and circles, because I know what's important and I know I got to get to it. And that's how I keep my passion alive. A few times people have said to me, I'm hired for a speech, I'm getting paid $2,000, so you got to make it right? Okay, so we need a copy of your outline. We need a copy of your speech. Can you deliver the copy of the speech exactly 48 hours prior to the engagement? And then I have to say, can I send back my deposit? because it's not happening. It's not how I operate. It's not how I stay passionate. If I had to write out a speech for anybody or anything, you would be bored out of your mind if you heard it, because I would be bored out of my mind if I delivered it, right? So that's my thing. I've figured it out. I figured out what keeps me passionate. What keeps you passionate? What keeps you passionate? All right, so you have, let's throw the romance out. You want to be an interior designer, right? And you tell a few people. That's good. That's an action step. That's committed you. Now you got to. They're going to ask you, "How's it going?" And you're going to say, "It's going great." You did an action step already. Now you're going to put down on a piece of paper what you want life to be like as a designer, how you want to feel, what it looks like, what's your schedule, who your clients are, what kinds of designs you get to do. It's going to be all there. It's going to be there on a piece of paper, right? So you got that action step going. Okay. Now, what's the thing to amp up the passion? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Not me. What are you going to do to amp up the passion? Think about it. I'm saying designer, or I'm saying romance, but what is it that you want? What's the one thing that's driving you toward seeking it and wanting it to be from a possibility into a being? What is that thing? Now, when you think you can do this first action step, you can draw what you want. You can do that. I know you can do that. What are you going to do to amp up the passion? Let's go back to interior design. I know what I would do if that were my thing. I would run down to Barnes and Noble. I would go into the magazine section, and I would sit there and I would flip through all the magazines and find which ones I want to buy. Then I would buy them, and then I would rip out designs I like, and I would keep a folder. And then after that, I'd have, oh, here's my bathroom folder, here's my living room folder, and here's my ideas folder for a kitchen. And then I would go online and I would look for new ideas, and I'd look for what does Sherwin-Williams say is the upcoming color for 2019. That's what I would do. I would live in it. I would breathe it. I would dream about it. I would go in people's houses and think, oh, look at that. The molding is gray and the wall is gray also. Do I like that? Would that work? Would that work in someone's house? Then I'd be in it, right? That's you.
Clothes and go to Pottery Barn.
Yeah, I would go and get paint swatches and I would bring them home. I would decorate my desk with paint swatches because I know I've done that before too. That's what I would do. That's what makes it more real. Okay. And if you're doing this part already and you've carefully gone through the steps that I told you about what are you thinking, what are you feeling, what are you believing, then you've got the platform for the passion to really kick in and create it in your reality. If you don't do this, you really don't have a chance, because you might not have yet unearthed that you don't believe you're worthy of that joy. You might not yet have realized that you had a contrary belief hidden deep within you that won't allow this to manifest. So these two go hand in hand. This first, and then the passion. And figure out what your passion thing is. And you all know, life has a way of moving quickly, and what it is we think we can do in a day is more than what we can actually get done. We get distracted, we get a phone call, somebody has an emergency at work, we do that, we answer a phone call, we answer emails, we go on Facebook, we Insta our friends, we get the right angle for Snapchat. There's ways that we're using up our time that we're just not really conscious of. So in order for the passion part of your life to become more real, it's important that it become a part of your life that you activate on a regular basis. So one way to do that is wherever this slip of paper is, you can leave a Post-it on the bottom. If you do your Post-it in threes, it'll help you. Rip a piece of Post-it in threes and put it at the bottom of your action page. And every day, move those 3 Post-its to somewhere else. And every morning, put the 3 Post-its back on this. And what will happen is every time you take a Post-it off, activate your passion. Take a Post-it off, activate your passion. Take a Post-it off, activate your passion. So every day you'll get up, you'll move your 3 Post-its from here to here, and this is the beginning of a day. And then every day when you're seeing this, you'll take a Post-it off, activate your passion in the way you know how, move it here. Activate your passion in the way you know how, move it here. Activate your passion the way you know how, and move it here. Tomorrow you get up and you start it all over. Because these are the steps that make it go from here to here. This is effort. You're putting in effort. I never said it's hard, did I? I never said it's hard, because it's not hard, but it takes effort. You have to put in effort in order for it to happen. It takes effort, but the effort is rewarding because this is what you just said you want, right? It's rewarding because this is what you said you want. If you really want it, then do it. Put in the effort to get what you want. All right? Okay. I think we're at a decent time for a break, and we're going to continue this because there's definitely more steps toward getting it from here to here. And one of the things we're going to do tonight, and I'll pause online for a few minutes, but we're going to give a nice happy on your next trip and adventure to Victoria and Derek. So we have, we're gonna have a little party for them and celebrate their new journey. We're gonna send them off packed with a lot of love and good wishes and optimism and adventure. And then we'll return here in about 10 minutes, okay?
Okay. No.
That was a wonderful celebration. And you took it all in, yes? Feeling the love? I feel the love for you. Can I give the big January announcement? The small January announcement. That sounded terrible. I should have said it that way. He's coming. Derek says he's coming back for the year before us, everybody. Since he didn't play tonight, even though there were multiple requests for you to play tonight, right? So he has to leave you wanting more, right, Susan? He's got to leave you wanting more. So he'll be back for the year before us, 3rd Saturday of January. Okay, so let me just go over. I have one of my most wonderful friends on this planet is here tonight, and Steve's going to tell us a little bit about that. I'll be appearing where he is.
Where are we going to be?
That was so vague. That was very vague.
First off, I feel the same thing. For those of you who haven't met, my name is Steve. It was such a wonderful presentation. I co-own a spiritual company called White Light 1111. Every Monday we have guest speakers. It's going to be there. It's coming Monday.
I'm going to be there Monday. I'll be there Monday.
It's located.
White Light Productions.
It's located in Holbrook.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's located in Holbrook at the Four Seasons Summer. Four Seasons Hotels and stuff. They're very gracious. They're very nice. So, you're more than welcome.
And I'm going to repeat you so that online viewers can hear it, because they probably can't hear you. So don't think I'm like not listening. I'm going to repeat what you say. What's our topic? What am I talking about?
The topic in which we are discussing was, yes, trying to remain a positive person in the face of all the negativity in the news.
Trying to remain a positive person in all of the negativity in the news. Okay. All right. But was there a nicer sentence there?
I'll just continue here. Social media making you frustrated, rather than
let's get to the
connected and happy.
positive.
Discover how to live as an enlightened being above the line.
Okay. Discover how to live as an enlightened being above the line. How do you rise above negativity? Thanks. I'm glad. Thank you for looking that up, because I wasn't really remembering it.
Looking forward to it. So,
Yeah. And as you can see, we're doing the whole matchy match thing, just to show that we're connected, right?
Memo, yes.
Yeah, we got the memo. For the viewers at home, Steve and I are both wearing blue striped shirts. We look adorable together. You just can't make that stuff up, right? Can't make that up. Okay, so join us on the 15th at 7 p.m. Yes? All right, cool. Good. Huh? October 15th. That's soon, it feels like. Oh, that's very soon. All right, so we'll see you all there. And we'll be back here on the 12th. Yeah, we'll be back here on the 12th. And if anyone feels like taking the drive to Colts Neck, New Jersey, I'll be there on the 11th, on Sunday, 11/11. 11/11, anyone that's ever attended anything I've done on 11/11 has seen that it's a special win-win-win all around. It always seems to be a magical day to give a seminar. Something about the power of that day makes it even more interesting and exciting. So I'll see you then too. Okay, so back to our topic. I gave you what I perceive as being two of the most beneficial action steps that you can take to have the process of moving what it is that you're learning to be true, what's resonating with you as possibility, and moving it into your being. Okay, and I know it sounds like this is about manifesting the reality that it is that you want, but in everything that you're taking in and you get an aha moment for, that's staying stuck up here and that you're not living it, the process is the same, even if it's not bringing in romance or becoming an interior designer or excelling in an area of your career, whatever it seems to be, like a physical manifestation. Every single thing where you get that wisdom or that, well, that makes a lot of sense, they can all be put into physical form and into actionable items. It might take a little bit more creativity if you don't have an exact way to write down, oh, this is what I would like in a romantic partner, this is what I would like as a designer. All of the things that you hear, like let's say the thing you hear is about the peace that you will experience when you really live in a state of surrender. Okay, now I can't really write down what am I going to write on the slip of paper about surrender? But if you have the knowledge in your head, you can write something down. If it's in your head, you can write down sentences. I will feel like I've released a burden when I live in surrender. Surrender opens up space for more love and joy to come in. I understand that holding on too tight prevents that which it is I want from coming in and joining my life. So you write your sentences about how you believe surrender will make you feel. What does it feel like to let go, to give something away, to clean something out, to clear the space, to not fight, to not resist? If in your head you know what surrender is, then you have the capability of writing a list. So when you get those sentences that mean something to you down on this list, you interact with them just like any other conversation with the universe that you would have about manifesting something into physical reality. And you look at it and you say, I am, whatever your sentences are, I like to say, will, want, am working toward, am achieving, am getting closer, whatever you want to write. Some people like to say, I have. It's about you. It's up to you, whatever you feel comfortable writing. But when you read them, again, bring in the feelings of it. Try to feel what it feels like to let go of resistance. What if I'm going to surrender to the fact that my mother's never going to treat me well, right? What does that feel like? What is letting go of the resistance? It means that I'm going to let those things wash over me and I'm not going to take them in. I'm not going to fight back because her words are powerless over me now. I realize her words are about her. It's about what she has not achieved in her journey. It's about her belief that I'm a reflection of what she would have wanted in her life. I'm going to make sense and I'm going to put this down on my surrender page. This is a way for you to be able to interact on a daily basis with the feelings, the beliefs, and the thoughts about bringing whatever aha moment it is that you have in your head, what sounds like a good idea, what is only in, it's only philosophical at the moment, it's only in your intellect at the moment. This is the first step to getting it to go from here to here. Then with this, what passion steps can I take about something like surrender? It's not as direct as taking action steps about becoming a designer or about bringing in a romantic partner, but there are still passion steps that you can take. And that could be when, if statements. It could be when my mother's words wash over me, I feel as free as a butterfly. And then draw a butterfly, and that's one of the stickers near you. Whatever it is that gets your passion up. As my confidence is building in surrender to my mother's words, I know I'm going to start my own business. Whatever notes pop in your head, start writing them. How are you going to live? How are you going to feel? What's your life going to be like when you surrender to not resisting needing to change that area of your life and you let that thing come in? Okay. I know that books are really helpful and some of them have good techniques and instructions and exercises, but the only one that really knows what you can write for your list of what to focus on and tell the universe what it is that you want and what gets your passion amped up. The only one that knows what that's going to be is you. So suppose you come home, you had lunch with your mom, and you used some of your techniques that have been popping up for you. You've had some good ideas about how to manage her because you've decided that you still want her in your life, right? You've already made that decision. So you have a lunch with her and you successfully used some of these techniques, right? So now you come back and you write how that made you feel. I'm so excited. I just had my first peaceful lunch with my mom in exactly 17 and 3/4 years. Then you write down how that felt, and you get to have more of it because you're recording and capturing through effort. You're putting effort in to making the process of surrender notable, making it stick. You're writing in your blank map of the United States the things that it is that you want. You're filling it in. Okay. So that's the basic idea. And you're creative beings. I'm giving you 2 examples of ways to move from here into being. One is to tell the universe in a physical form what it is that you want and interact with that in a positive and meaningful way on a regular basis, not obsessively, that's unnecessary, but in a positive and meaningful way. A few times a day. If you accidentally skip a day, it's okay. Amp it up the next day. But in a meaningful and positive way, interact with it. And then use this as your trigger to amp up your passion. Without passion, everything will go flat. Remember, think about the building of the Eiffel Tower. If we're dull, the world is dull. If we're dull, our lives are dull. You want to put some oomph into it. You want to get excited. You want to get jazzed up. Think about a kid when they want you to take them outside and teach them how to ride a bicycle. They don't really care about your to-do list, right? They'll grab your arm. Now. How about now? How about now? So that's what you want. How about now? How about now? What about now? Now? Can we do it now? Can we play now? You add that passionate spark into it, and then it's doable. And then it's doable. And then it becomes you. It becomes your being. It becomes your perception. The great thing about this process of moving it from here to here and from here to here, however you can amp up your passion, is that it makes it stick. It gets it into you. And you wind up ultimately not necessarily needing this in the long run. So even though you've put in effort, in the long run, you don't need this because it's already become you. When something becomes you, it is you, and you don't have to keep reminding yourself that it is you. One of the most amazing things is that the effort that I did put in those 2 years, I don't really have to do a lot to get back to the best of any of the feelings that I've ever had. Because in my regular day-to-day life, the points of enlightenment and the points of happiness that I have added into my life that have become so regular for me, I've used passion and effort and actionable steps in order to get them to be me. So they don't disappear anymore. Enlightenment is a one-way road. You can't unknow what you know. And knowing it here is not the same as knowing it here. But once you become it, you can't unbecome it. You can accidentally slip into old habits of behaving the way you did before you became it, but you can't unknow it. So while I was moving forward in so many areas of my life, every now and then I would find one got a little stale. And so I would go back and I would amp it up again. I would get back to making it a priority, making it something that I'm interacting with on a daily basis, putting effort back into something if it was becoming stagnant. And that's the key: effort, action, and passion. That's the key. That's how you get it from here to here. You know, it's like you always hear, like, what is it that we think about or contemplate when we're ready for our journey back home at the end of our earth lives? And we hear over and over again in little motivational speeches or little memes, we always hear that we don't regret that which it is we do, we regret that which we didn't do. And this process of having the possibility and having the knowledge and moving it into an actionable item and then moving it into passion, if you follow that process with the things that you really want, not that you say you want, but that you really do want, how you want your life to be, then when you have your opportunity to return back home, you're going to feel pretty good about the fact that you did it. You did the stuff that you wanted to do. You became the person that your soul really is. You put your mind to it, you took the steps, you put in the effort, and then you allowed yourself to have passion with it. Passion sometimes, just to help you understand it a little bit differently, sometimes it's just the word play. Okay, so passion, sometimes we might think of it as something that eludes us, but play doesn't need to elude us. If you play with the thing that it is you want to be a part of your life, that's passion, because play is fun. It's obstacle free. It's block free. Fun is what we want to do to really create the reality that we have, that we want. That we want. All right, so what I want to do now is I'm going to just turn my attention to questions, definitely about any of the topics that we talked about tonight, about moving information from the head into your being. One other thing I meant to say when I was talking about the memorizing that we did when we were in elementary school, one of the things that I do want to reinforce too, and I meant to say this earlier and I'll say it now, part of memorization that allowed us to retain information when we were kids is repetition. Repetition is very important as well. So this is repetition. This is passion, and it can be different every time, but this is repetition. Repetition also comes from reading a different version of that which it is you want to bring in, exploring the topic in different ways, listening to the same YouTube video over and over and over again through repetition, because repetition also helps to create the process of it moving from here to here to here. When you repeat something over and over again, your brain is taking in that new information and it's pushing out the thing that it's replacing. Okay, so repetition is a big part of it too. So who's going to be the one to kick off the first question of the night? I knew that this was going to be this group this evening. Okay, thank you.
Say there's like 10 different areas I want to do this with. I have, specific goals or just an area of my life, if I have multiple things that I want to do this with, do I have 10 different sheets of paper?
Okay, her question is, if she has multiple areas that she wants to achieve or to work on, like 5 different areas, and you said 10, then you said 5, 5, 10, they're all good. Does she have a different list for each of the areas? What I got as an image for you, and maybe it'll work for other people, but I actually saw a work surface where you covered the surface with 5 different colors. Okay, so if you have a little table that you can set up or an area that will not be disturbed on your desk, just take either colored paper or like tablecloths like this or something, and make 5 different colors. So what you can do is you can experience the process of moving it from here and into passion with each area. You might see that you're giving 2 or 3 a lot of attention and focus, and that's a good way of the universe helping you to see that that might be the best one to put even more effort into at the moment. Just because you're not putting effort into the others at this minute, it doesn't mean that they're not going to be there for you when you follow this one and see how it manifests. And maybe you'll be one where you see there's a uniform amount around all 5. And so go for it. Put your effort and your interacting with what it is that you want and your passion into all 5. Okay, time is our ally with that when we're working on multiple things. The universe has this beautiful, delicate way of moving us toward the thing that they see opening for us. Okay, so if you're not paying that much attention to 1 out of 5 or 2 out of 5, it's also your guide saying those are great and they're wonderful, but put even more effort and energy and focus into the 3 that you see are starting to rise. Okay, and in that particular case, it's really wonderful to look for signs from guides and in the universe and make a note of them, because you can keep your passion jazzed up even by making post-its of another sign that you saw, right? So signs, synchronicity, I had a dream, somebody said this, I saw this on TV, I got an email, all of this stuff, all the ways that the universe is constantly communicating with us, they are definitely a part of your passion steps, because it helps you to even see that you're not alone in this. Manifestation is not a solo job. Nothing on earth is really solo. It helps to take you away from the idea that you're doing anything alone. All right? Sound good? Now, I know the 5 colors came up for Susan specifically, but if it's an idea that works for you, go for it. You have to remember, what kind of a learner are you? Are you tactile? Are you audio? Are you visual? You want to work within how you receive and retain information. That's a very important part of it. So if you're not a tactile or visual learner, then the 5 colored spaces might not be the way to work for you. If you tend to be more linear and you love Excel spreadsheets, then by all means, create an Excel spreadsheet about the 5 different items. Create an audio program that plays back to you and you say it over and over again about the 5 things. You're the one that knows yourself, okay? Like I, for one, if someone tells me a name or a phone number, I'm not likely to recall it. And if it's something I really have to remember, I will take out a pen and paper and have them write it down, or I'll write it down, because I have to see it in order for it to get in there. When it comes here, I can hear you, but I'm too busy interacting with the soul to care about the facts. Right? That part's not working that great. So you got to write the facts down for me these days, and then I can retain it. So you know yourself best. You know how to interact with it. Okay? But hey, go for it. And come back and report. Okay? Tell us how many of the 5 are happening. Okay?
I don't even know how many there are yet.
All right, cool. Yes.
What, like, I don't have a passion. How do you find a passion? How do you find something to go for? I'm retired, you know.
At 35?
Yeah, 35. And
okay.
I mean,
All right. I'm going to repeat the question. Okay. Her question is she first said, I have no passion.
Yeah.
I was like, well, as an intuitive, I can tell you it's not so, but let's go with that sentence. And she said, what do I do to find out what my passion is? One of the reasons I decided to try to spend more time on questions is because I understand that understanding a topic in a meaningful way, your questions are going to be very, very helpful for everybody in the room, because everyone in the room has the same curiosities. And that's why I'm going to continue to try to spend more and more time with questions from you, because that's a great question. And what I want to begin by saying is that culturally, we have this collective conversation about what makes you worthy and what makes you valuable. And what we take in as our definition about what makes us worthy, it's going to be unique for each of us, but it is clearly identifiable. For some people, it might be a specific career, a specific house, a specific number of children, practicing a specific religion. But the messages that we receive, that what deems us worthy when we're kids, we oftentimes will turn so much focus to it because we want people to like us or love us. And we were told that that's what makes us lovable, that we stop paying attention to what we want, and we stop paying attention to what we like, and we stop paying attention to our innate talents and interests. So one of the things that I start with clients that are in your shoes right now is we just start with a curiosity log, and you jot down the things that create any curiosity within you. And in that curiosity log, we usually section it out. One section is, what am I good at? And another section is, what do I love to do? And if you're saying right now, I have no passion, it's not about what you're doing or paying attention today. It's about scanning the decades of your life and start from your earliest memories and think back to the things that you liked doing. And really spend a lot of time, and really spend as much time as your memory will allow you to be, especially earlier in life. Focus on what you loved doing when you were a kid and write it down in that curiosity list or in the things that I love. And for me, one of the simplest things is I really loved going on the swings when I was a kid, and going so high that the chain got slack, right?
Yeah.
And then getting,
You wanted to go all the way around?
yeah, and then swinging so much that eventually, you shimmy your hiney up a little, right? And then you leap, right? You land in the sand and you measure how far did I go. So I remember that was a really great fun thing for me. Now, it's interesting because you're like, all right, so I'm remembering all this stuff. What do I do with it? You know what you do with it? You get yourself in the car and you go to a park and you go on a swing, because it's going to make you remember the playfulness in you. It's going to remember that you're allowed to be happy. It's going to make you remember some of those things that you were not indoctrinated out of yet at the moments that you were enjoying them earlier in life, before life told you that you're supposed to take a different path. Okay. And then it might be like, wow, you know what? I think I'd love to build a porch. I think I want a porch swing. You never really know. Before you know it, you're like, you know what? I think I want to build other people porches. I think I want to design porch swings. I want to design porch swings for people that don't have porches. You just don't know, right? And I'm going to take driftwood and I'm going to make swings for people. I'm going to hang them from their trees. You see, it's like,
You're so good.
it's that. So now you've looked at it, and then you go, all right, well, what did I like when I was 7 to 9? Or what about 4th grade? What about 7th grade? What about 8th grade? And you'll start to see that there was probably a period in life when there was less, because other people were telling you what your responsibilities and your obligations were, and you were listening because you wanted to be a good and worthy person, right? So, yeah, good girl. And inevitably, I'm gonna say something that sounds stereotypical, and the reason that I'm saying it is because there still is a preponderance of this being true for men and for women. I know we're shifting, and I don't mean to sound archaic, but traditionally, we're coming from an environment where women were praised for being caregivers and nurturers and taking care of one another, being the ones that provide everything from the starched laundry to the perfect meal, right? And men were traditionally raised to believe that what made them worthy was for them to be the primary breadwinners, to make sure that the family was secure and taken care of, insurance was paid, and we had money. And so these roles, they're starting to blend, and they're starting to dissolve. But the point is that if you can even look at that traditional aggregate conversation that we've been having for so many years, you can see how we do get kind of like tracked. We get tracked, whether we're tracked by gender, order of birth, nationality, region, religion, politics. We do kind of get tracked and pushed into something, sometimes in a very well-meaning way by the people that love us. They mean no harm. And sometimes it's deliberate intent that's pushing you in a direction that might not be right for you. So the idea is that you have to learn how to play again by doing those things. Find what makes you happy throughout life. Try to do the things that you used to do that got you excited. And then the third part of the curiosity book is, what am I innately good at? some people wind up doing what they're innately good at, and then they become very passionate about it. And some people do what they're innately good at it, and it just never brings them joy. So what you're innately good at doesn't necessarily mean where your passion lies. But what you often can see is that when there's an intersection between your curiosity list, what I have loved doing throughout my life, and what I innately do well, you'll see that when there's a crossover of those and it appears in more than one section of the book, it's an indication that that's a good place for you to focus. Okay? Even 2 out of 3 is a sign that that's part of your soul's intention. It's part of your makeup. It's part of your nature. And when you start to put more focus to it, you can see that there's a good likelihood that it's going to spark, and it's going to bring you some kind of happiness that you hadn't had in a really long time. Okay. The other thing, I don't care if you're 6 or you're 66 or you're 106. One of the things that really helps us to thrive is to have goals. And I'm not talking about goals like, I want to get grocery shopping done on Thursday and I want the bathrooms cleaned by Friday. Those are tasks. They're not goals. Okay. But a goal is something that you're working toward, that you're excited about. And every person at any age, it's important that you have goals, because goals really do provide the spark of life within you. It's not the meeting of the goal that is the reward. It's the pursuit of the goal. So you can bend the goals, you can change them, you can amp them up, but it's important to have goals, things that you're very excited about working toward, whatever it might be. Redecorating a room, moving to North Carolina, having a pet squirrel who lives outside and comes and eats out of your hand when you feed him. But have a goal, have something that you're working toward. I want to grow bamboo. I want to grow bonsai. I want to have the best tomatoes I've ever grown. Whatever it is, just have goals that you're happy about pursuing. Okay? Good answer? I didn't mean good answer. I wasn't looking for a compliment. I meant to say, but you know what? I'll take the compliment. It was a very good. Do we all agree? Okay. Next. Lovely lady in the back.
My goal that I had set this year was for the universe to delight me and surprise me in any way as my days go on. Recognize it and write it down. And I just went on a trip going up to the mountains to hike and stuff, and it was gloomy and it was rainy and it was just, the end of it was Sunday to Monday. And I went, oh, how is this going to delight me? What's going to happen? There was this, about 5:45, this line at the clouds. It opened up, and there was the sunset. That was the most brilliant sunset, the most gorgeous sunset, because it was on the water. The sun came through. It was as if a new day had started. Like, this was the beginning of everything. It was one of the most exciting things that ever delighted me. How else can you top that? So, go to bed. My husband goes up. He's, I said, I just want to sit for 2 minutes. And they had a wedding next door to this place that we were at, and they had the fireworks as good as usual. I'm like, what else? Fantastically. So it has been such, because I put that out.
Okay, but is there a question in there? I only want to be conscious of the people here that can't hear you, because I'm going to have to repeat what you said, and I'm not going to do a good job with what you just said.
Just like if you put that out,
Yeah.
and you
Yes.
just wait for things to come in.
Yeah. What her question is it a good idea for me to continue manifesting delights at every turn by saying that I would like delights at every turn? She shared a couple of really beautiful stories with us about a rainy day climb, and it seemed miserable. But you had said, in everything I do, I want to be surprised by delights at every turn. And that rainy day, you're like, oh well, can't have it every day. And then at the end of the day, it turned out that you got to see the most beautiful sunset ever. So what she was sharing with us is that our attention is very powerful, and to direct your attention, and that's what this really is. It's your intention. Your intention is very powerful. It's one of the most powerful parts of the energy that helps you create the reality. And I used to have to work at it, and it was work, put the effort in, meaning I put the effort into creating a life in which I'm delighted all the time. And I am really at the point in my life where I am delighted all the time. It takes a lot to undelight me. And I usually wind up not paying attention to it, not because I'm burying my head in the sand, but if I pay too much attention to that which does not delight me, I find that my energy will go down. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to be vibrating at the energy of the thing that it is that did not delight me. So I can't pull anybody up. I can't pull a country up by paying attention to that which does not delight me, right? So I focus on what does delight me, and that's how I can help elevate anybody, including myself. But that's pretty much what it is that you said. Good question. Thank you. Good question. I got to applaud you this time instead of applauding myself. No, good answer. Good answer, because you answered it. I'm all mixed up. Good question and good answer. Good answer. Good answer. All right, I think we have time for another.
So what happens if you know what you want to do, but you get stuck with some of the details?
What happens? What happens if you know what you want to do, but you get stuck with some of the details? I've given very, very lengthy seminars to answer that specific question. But in the short answer, what do you do when you get stuck? What it is, it's a matter of the effort comes from paying attention to where you get stuck. And you have to take note of it by jotting it down. Once you jot it down where you got stuck, or what the point is that you can't figure out how to do, or how to undo, or how to redo, or how to move forward, then you have something tangible. You almost have a topic header, because you have quote unquote a problem that needs a solution, right? I don't mean a problem like, oh, I have a problem. Not that. I'm talking about like mathematical. I have a problem and now I can find the solution, right? When you were given a quadratic formula and you had to, quadratic equation when you were a kid, you didn't look at it and say, oh, I have maybe I should go easier. When you were given when you were given a 2 + 2 equation and you had to tell, I loved quadratic equations when I was a kid. When you were, yeah, that's what I like. So, oh my God, where was I? Okay, so when you were given 2 + 2 and you had to fill it in and write 4 and hand it back to your teacher, you didn't get all heavy. I got a problem. It's such a problem. What am I going to do, right? If we start to look at the things where we get stuck as the kinds of problems where we're just going to find solutions, you can actually stay upbeat and happy about it. Okay, how can I find the solution to this problem? So now I've got the thing, 2 + 2 = what? So you can phone a friend, right? You can, what are the other two you can do? What are the other two? Ask the audience. And what was the other one? Oh, what was the third one? Oh, eliminate 2 answers, right? So it actually works like that. So now you've got your problem. You need an answer so you get unstuck. So, what if I do this? What if I do this? What if I do this? Well, I can't do those two because of something, right? So you cross them off your list. Then you phone a friend. I have this idea. This is what I want to do. Do you have any suggestions? Phoning a friend is really like talking to people, going, reading online. That's phoning a friend. And that's what you do. And then you start to delve into, where can I find a source for another way of thinking, for another way of doing this, finding a creative solution to getting unstuck. Listen, it's limitless. At some point, if you realize that it's like starting my own business and I don't necessarily know the steps to start my own business, and you're like, well, I don't know a lot, but I know a little. Why don't I start a meetup group, and it'll be about people starting their own businesses, and we can just share our experiences, our wisdom, how we got unstuck. You know, there's always, if you just keep, now I have it. I know what I want to get unstuck about. Now I can find the answer. I can find the answer. Okay. And keep doing that every time you hit what you think is another spot. You might find that the stuck thing, it's emotional and it's coming from your body of history. So then phone a friend. You know, my father always told me I was stupid and ugly and I want to be a model. How am I going to be a model if my father always told me I was stupid and ugly? Now you brought the friend in and that you can brainstorm. Well, let's take a video of you. Let's see if you really are, you know, stupid and ugly. And, but the point is you just got to keep working with what you got there, right? You know what I mean? The whole idea is that it could be emotionally that you're stuck or it could be physically that you're stuck, but both of them are about creatively finding ways to get past that supposition that you can't move, because you can always move. You can always move. All you got to do is look at a video of that we see on Piece It Together all the time. Remarkable people doing remarkable things, defying what we might have thought was possible. And you see, if they can do that, then we can certainly get through our stuck list and find and ask for solutions to the things that we suppose we're stuck on. Okay? Michelle, you had one.
Talk about stuck, but more like a resistance, like that you know that this is what you should be doing. These are the actions you should be taking, but there's that procrastination and that resistance to following through.
Yeah. Okay. One of the things that, you know, it's so funny. I was thinking about this tonight that I use the word have to a lot tonight. And I did it for emphasis, not because it's a command. I did it for emphasis because I really do try not to say you have to, you have to, you have to. And I did it knowingly that I did it tonight because I really wanted everyone to be clear that if you have stuff in your head and it's not happening here, that it's your privilege to participate in getting it from here. So the only way I can help you understand with emphasis is that you have to do it. Okay. That's the way to get it done, is through these steps. And the reason I'm saying this is that I was so conscious of using that terminology today is because what you did say is need to. What was the term you just used? It wasn't have to. No, there was before that. Should. That's the word. The word should is a trigger word. The word should generally doesn't lead to a good result. It leads to apathy, resistance, reluctance, even sabotage, rejection. The word should is not going to be the thing that gets you to want to commit and put effort into anything. Okay. So what the first thing you have to do is figure out how to convert the word should. Why should I do it? And work on why should I do it instead. I'm going to look better. I'm going to feel better. I'm going to find I have more meaningful relationships. It'll be a first step toward a career advancement. So instead of resisting the negative, which is what you would do with the word should or need, what you're doing is you're turning around to why should I? And those answers then become positive. And then working towards something positive is always going to be more exciting and more interesting than working toward getting rid of something negative. Okay. Look at that. It's exactly 9 o'clock. The next evening here will be on November 12th. I believe it's the date that will be Veterans Day, for those who get off on Veterans Day. And is it?
It's a Monday.
That's a Monday.
Oh, that's New York City. Join me in New York City. Join me in New York City on November 12th. Join me. See why I don't do this stuff. Okay. Join me on November 12th in Manhattan. Yes? Field trip.
Yay.
We have a great time in the city, don't we?
Yes,
We do. We have a great time in the city. We really do. We have a group. It's entirely different. The energy is so different. People go out to dinner. They have a drink sometimes or two. But we have a phenomenal time there. We have a really interesting group of people in the city. So come to the city on the 12th, but that's not what you asked. So the 14th is the next day here? Wow. That seems late in the month, doesn't it?
It's the
That's the second Wednesday of the month.
Can never be past
Yeah, I guess that's the absolute last an EPG could happen. Second Wednesday of the month. We'll be here on November 14th. And did I get it right? Oh.
She made me smart.
Okay. I was going to say something so important. Oh yeah, I know. Between now and in a few days, I'll channel the topic for the next Making Discoveries, and then we'll put it up on the website, and then we'll start posting it on Facebook, and it'll go into my newsletter next month. Because I find that having a target when we come here in the Making Discoveries series has been very beneficial to a lot of people. And so I'm going to continue that. Well, download whatever the topics will be within the next week, and then I will share that as soon as I know what the topic will be. So keep your eye on my events page. I'll see you on Monday. I'll see all of you on Monday in Holbrook. Yes. And you guys are wonderful. Thanks so much for coming out. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.